Yo, what's up? It's Paul in the 619 with another Conversations with the Community. Ooh, I got the guest. It's cool. I've been following this guy for a while. Sometimes the timing is wrong. But sometimes the planets align, and things work out. So, dude, I'm not gonna let this person wait in the background for very long. But I'm very excited to interview him. It's Keven, Entropy in Comics. Dude's got a fire IG page, does YouTube content, and man, without further ado, let's bring the guy in. Yeah, Keven, what's up, brother?
Greetings, community.
Yeah, let's go. All right, so we're gonna just dive right into it. All right, so how did you get your screen name?
Wow, you know what, Paul? You are the first person to ever ask that. One, I want to say thank you very much for having me. Two, people in the in the chat there, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe. And to answer your question, my son and I, we started out on YouTube back in 2019 under the name 1-2 Comic Talk, and we were doing it for a couple of years. I wanted to do another show, another YouTube, more geared towards something different. And at the time, it just seemed like there was so much going on, so much chaos, so much fluctuations on the market between speculation and all that. And me, what better word was it than entropy? So there was entropy in comics.
Nice.
That's where I came up with it. Yeah, just to kind of reflect what was kind of going on in a whole new direction for me.
Oh yeah, about around that time when I started watching YouTube, and as far as like comic book content, I remember there was a lot of spec shows. Besides that, there was a lot of CGC unboxings. It's like everyone was doing a CGC unboxing. It was wild, and that's when I started watching comic book content on YouTube, and probably the same thing as you watching all this stuff, and you're like, you know what? I like comics. I think I could do what they're doing. So I kind of like try to do my own stuff. Man, it's been a journey. That's for sure. You
Most
know what I mean?
definitely. Yeah, most definitely. I think everyone's journey is a little bit unique unto themselves. At the same point, I think of what brings us together as community members is our journey. We're all on that same mountain, even though our paths may differ a little.
Yeah.
We're still enjoying it together, and there's that collectiveness, not to use a pun too much, but of our understanding of what we're all doing. We kind of get each other what we're doing. And I think that's what brings us together as a community.
Oh, dude, well said. Um, uh, how did you get into comics, and what are some of your earliest comic book memories?
I'm going to omit certain aspects of this, but at the same point, to tell the overall story, because it's extremely lengthy, is I had a neighbor in front of me hit me up. I was kind of, eager for friendship. And I was like, all right. So we went on this journey, got some books, and that started me off. I was roughly 8 years old. So I'm putting myself in 1977 back then, which was also a time of a lot of stuff going on, meaning Star Wars and things like that.
Yeah.
So that was part of the inspiration of all that was going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
How has social media helped you in everyday life?
Initially it was a way for me I really didn't understand it and how to communicate, especially when it came to Instagram. And so, like most old people, I started on Facebook, and it was me to, I guess, reconnect with some of my old high school people that I was a little more distant than I want to be.
Yeah.
And then it did segue to Instagram, which was a part of me expressing myself, not only of what I like with my comics, but just overall, I guess, pop culture. And so it's allowed me to, where I was, an 8-year-old kid just sitting in my bedroom and just reading my own comics. Now we're a lot more socially acceptable. So to be able to go on social media and express an aspect of me that I never could, that I always kind of hid, but being now able to do it to the masses is pretty liberating.
Yeah. Well, you kind of dated yourself, by saying what year it was. But the thing, Kevin, you and I are about the same age.
Oh, okay.
So I totally understand everything you're saying. As far as like the comic books, I remember when back in the day, because my wife and I have been together for a long time. I remember when we were dating, I didn't mention anything about comic books, toys, stuff that I was into, because I thought that'd be like a deal breaker. But yeah, like you said, now it's like it's not just looked before it kind of was like looked down upon, but now it's kind of like that's my go-to. I let people know that I collect comics. It's not something that I guess I came out of the closet per se, but as far as we used to go to parties, and my wife, when she introduced me, she would say, "Oh yeah, this is my husband. He collects comic books." I'd be like, "Nah, I'll tell him that." But now it's like, it's more acceptable. I think it's kind of like a badge of honor too. Because we've been doing it for so long.
The individuals that are out there and the diversity in which how they find entertainment in life is so vast that it's difficult almost nowadays to have someone kind of look at you different, like, wait, really? You know what I mean? So, and again, like what you were saying, I guess I knew that my wife would kind of have a certain look at me, because like you, I've been together with my wife since the early 90s. So, dating back then. And I knew I had to alter how I presented it to her. So how I did it was, I'm like, well, this is like future investments. It's a part of my augmentation to my retirement. So I need you. I don't need you to judge me as much as I need you to assist me. How about you assist? We log in this stuff together. We price it out together. We map out how this will look in our future together. So I no longer turn into this geeky hobby thing as much as, oh wait, this is a future investment together? Okay.
That's you know what? When you put it that way, I think that's yeah, especially when you're talking to your significant other. Or if you talk about the money aspect, it kind of more or less, especially my wife, because my wife's she's an accountant, made more sense.
Oh
You talk
God.
about the money aspect, you know. Um,
I fear for you, dude, and that's pretty good working for you. Actually, all these years being able to do what you do, and her being an accountant, yeah, that's impressive, dude.
mm, totally skipped this question, but who or what inspired you to do comic book content on social media? I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but I never asked that question.
No, and I'm glad you actually kind of went back to that, because you did mention and I didn't fully answer. How I got back into comics is it was kind of twofold. I will get to that second aspect at the end of the show. The first aspect is my son was at the comic shops frequently, but he was doing D&D with my half brother. He's been trying to get me back into comics and talking to people on YouTube for years. So it just so happened I was picking up my son every Wednesday, and it just so happened one day I had to stay a little bit later, and I was looking at some stuff. I was listening to what was going on, and I was hearing about this title, Kanto, that was coming out. And it just dropped, I think, that day. I was talking to some people. It really struck me hard on what the story was about, what was going on, and it brought me back to yesteryear, which I also hopefully will elaborate on that in a moment too. So I asked my son, I'm like, hey man, would you want to go and talk to these comic creators and stuff and possibly look at this book and pick it up? He's like, sure. So we went Saturday after talking to David Boer. Yeah. And reinvigorating my passion, I asked my son, I'm like, hey, would you want to create a YouTube channel? He's like, for what? I'm going, look, I've always, which is now I'm explaining myself, really got off on being a self-proclaimed signature slut, because what I enjoy is speaking to the artists and the creators about the stories. So I have a story about the stories, if that makes sense. And I, because of that, was really passionate about how can I promote this? How can I assist? How best can I use a platform to basically be on a soapbox and say, look, out of everything that you enjoy in this industry, I highly recommend this. And that's how the birth of 1-2 Comic Talk, being on YouTube, and all this came to be, which is now Entropy In Comics.
Nice. Very nice. Wow. So I have been doing a little bit of research on you. I did look at your IG page, and I've followed you for a while. So I know that you go to a few shows. Some a few Comic Cons. What is your favorite, and why?
Not only you bring that up, also as you also made mention, you and I seemingly keep our paths just keep crossing, and there's times when you're just coming at the con as I'm leaving. I would have to say it's not as much as a favorite of all these events, as much as I've been able to extrapolate what I enjoy about each con, and I've been able to enjoy it for that. So I do enjoy San Diego for the massiveness that it is. I do enjoy WonderCon for the family environment that it offers. I love LA Comic Con because it's literally in my backyard, and I mean, not literally, but I mean, it's so close to me, and so many people that I know that live in this vicinity are always there. So it's more of almost like returning to individuals that I know, and definitely in the past almost decade that I've seen come up almost with me. Individuals like David Pepos and just even Jordan Morris that I just recently saw. These are individuals that are relatively new in the industry as far as writing or even doing some art in some cases, but they've been there with me since I've been here. So I enjoy that for its sake too. So it's not that I enjoy any one for its individuality more than the other, as much as I enjoy them all for what they offer.
Nice. You going to WonderCon?
I'm hoping this year, not only I get to go to WonderCon to see you, but John, and yes, it's been too long, and I enjoy that very relaxed feeling that that place offers. You know,
Wide open. It's wide open. It's not claustrophobic. There is room to go around.
yeah, elbows are not out like they are at San Diego.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to worry about getting out at 9 or 10 o'clock at night where you're sitting there looking over your shoulder like you are in LA. So I am looking forward to trying to be there, and I am looking forward to hopefully seeing individuals much like yourself.
Yeah, you do go this year because we'll definitely hook up, bro. We'll
That'd be
definitely
awesome.
hook up.
That'd be really cool.
So, as far as Comic Cons, are there Comic Cons that you really go to?
Yeah, I would say LA is pretty frequent for me. Yeah. And outside of that, we have a new comic shop that's been here for now, I think it's coming up on over 4 years. Anyways, it's called Revenge of Comics and Pinball. And the beauty about that place is they put on a block party every year. Highly recommend for anyone that's in the vicinity. The beauty about their party is it's its own little mini Comic-Con.
Yeah.
No charge. It's more of a party than it is anything else. Imagine going to a Comic-Con party and everyone that you know that you want to get things signed or have conversations with is there. And so are you. So that's what I've been enjoying about that. So I'm not saying it's a con as much as it's a party, and I've been enjoying that. I've been there 3 years running, and I can't get enough. And it's I'm looking forward to that one also.
I've heard about it. I've seen the pictures. That's on my list. I would love to, when I'm in that area, to drop by that comic shop because that comic shop looks dope. It looks so awesome.
I will keep you apprised. I did with John too. I was trying to get him to go, John Comics with, and definitely this year I'll not only make mention, but I highly recommend anybody, especially shops that are looking to reinvent themselves. The beauty about Revenge of Comics is they just didn't, how should I say, appeal to just us comic creators. They have video cassettes there, they have DVDs there, they have 2 separate rooms of just pinball machines there. They have a whole separate room of just card games, meaning Magic the Gathering and so forth. And then because they grew so big, they took out the place next door to them and they actually do more Magic the Gathering along with a coffee shop, along with pastries, along with. What I'm getting at is it's difficult to maintain just a comic shop. I asked that all comic shops not only reach out to Comics Pro, to go ahead and try to get a board to go to the cons that are just geared towards you, comic creators, writers, and just comic shop owners, no other personnel. Not only do that, but also, reach out to maybe Revenge of Comics and Pinball, have a talk with those people. They're more than welcoming, and I just need to see more shops continue to go. Keep them reading.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's go in a different direction. What comic book character do you relate to the most?
Oh my God. Howard the Duck.
Really?
Oh, I got no superpower. I got a bunch of, more times than not, I'm saying jokes that are just not appropriate. And I have stupid luck. So I'm definitely with a woman that shouldn't be with me because she far exceeds my, and I've been very fortunate throughout my whole life. So I can so relate to Howard because in some regards, I feel like I've kind of lived his lifestyle without being an alien that I know of.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. Right on, Kevin. Dude, that's a good answer. All right. So, where do you get your comics?
I ask everybody that is of my age or even close to it if they recall a show called Cheers. And in that show, they may remember a character called Norm.
Yep.
I'm much like Norm. It's very few places within a 20-mile radius of a shop that doesn't know me and or some of the people that were actually just visit there, just customers. I'm everywhere. However, that stated, I do have the Comic Bug, which is only about a mile and a half from me.
Oh, okay.
I have Pulp Fiction Comics, which is in Culver. I do also hit up Mega City 1, which is also only 1.5 blocks away from Golden Apple. And Collector's Paradise. So those 5 are my regular, along with Colt Torrent. See what I mean? And then but the majority of my purchase is DCBS. So I have a box right there, 2 boxes right there. That's the month before last, and that's just arrived this last. I got a reading problem.
Shit, that's a good problem to have, bro. So I'm gonna ask you. You know what? I've never asked this question before. You know, I've done over 40 interviews. I'm gonna ask it to you. You'll be the first I ask this to. How many comic books do you own?
Oh wow.
Roughly? Yeah.
How about if we rough estimate? If I got my computer, I know I can sit there and go, oh, it's da 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 da, because I actually hand put it in. But I can say I only have short boxes outside of 3 other collector boxes in a little bin. So I have roughly 80 short boxes. So
wow, that's a lot.
Rough in, some of my boxes only have 100 books because they have my lights. Yeah. And some of my boxes actually have as many as 100 and probably 30 because of how I collect. If any book is worth over $10, it gets my lighted. If that book is signed, it has a my light and a full back. So it varies between box.
Wow, that's a lot of books.
So I mean, what are we talking? Somewhere between 8 to 10,000 books.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't tell my wife.
you know what's funny? My wife says, and I've said this before. This is my comic book room. I could collect whatever I want as long as it fits in this room. So you know, the thing is that, you know, space is an issue. So it's definitely you know, now where I'm at in the stage of my collecting, it's like I have to be very particular what I collect. I just can't just buy whatever. You know what I mean? And I kind of like that. I'm at the point that I have to be, you know, I have to actually, you know, I just can't buy everything that I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I lack that discipline at this point.
Yeah.
Is there a bed in that room?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have a desk. I have this desk.
Well, you can see that my bed's here, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What I purposely did is I don't have a standard bed. I just have a frame and then there's a mattress on top.
Is there comics underneath?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that explains my back issues. Back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Why do you collect comics?
I think drugs would kill me. No, you know, like I said before, at 8 years old, I was introduced. It was another thing. I grew up very poor, and I never thought I'd ever have a retirement 401, anything like that. So it was a part of when I looked up and I saw books that said $0.25 on it, but they were selling for $20. I'm like, what's up with that? So I learned a little about supply demand. I'm like, wait, so you can use this to go ahead and offset, you know, your retirement if you don't have one? So it's kind of a cheap way to kind of think about my back end of life. Something that I can do as a hobby to retain value and then possibly resell. Nice. Overall, presently is, you know, I'm not really into a lot. I'm in entertainment, so I work it, so I don't watch it. It's kind of like the chef comes home, he doesn't want to cook. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I enjoy reading. I enjoy just all aspects of it. And then when you accompany it with art and I see twice as much of the work, I'm in. It's just, I appreciate art in its many forms. And myself, I've done martial arts. I throw clay, you know, and make pottery. I've done so many ways to express myself that I can appreciate and find great value in that, in which that people do the same for me.
Nice. I like that. I like that. Um, do you press and clean your own books?
No. I wouldn't even consider it. I've had, like, I have a little sponge here. Rob Worst is hooked me up on some of the basics to kind of get back.
Yeah.
God, this must have been like 5 years ago. But
Oh,
I
wow.
would never consider doing anything real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That scares me.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, I know where my talents lie. Um, pressing and cleaning wouldn't be it. I would do worse. I would lower grades instead of raising the grade.
And what I
So,
found with it too, meaning just talking to people, is it's not one or the other. Meaning it's not just an art and it's not just a science. It's a fine blend of the two.
yeah,
You know, and if
agreed.
you really don't know what you're doing, you're just yeesh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. You're doing more harm than good. All right. So you did kind of mention about as far as comic books being an investment. Um, do you sell comics?
I am now starting to sell some. Much like yourself, I'm finding limited room, and it's proving well to get rid of all those years of why did I buy 5 copies of this? You know, Spawn #1, you know, things like that. Like, what was I thinking? So I'm only of late doing it, and what I've been doing it is I've been doing it through my son. So he's been
Yeah.
selling my books, and I've been telling him, I go, dude, whatever you sell, you get 10%, and then I'll just take it, and I get room. You get a couple bucks. Look, everyone's happy.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good engagement. I like that.
and he's seeing the value in it, and he's seeing the process of business. So it's a nice introduction.
Yeah, I like that. Um, if there was one superpower you can have, what would that superpower be?
You know, I truly have thought about this one because I've heard this question so many times,
Yeah.
and I'm a subjective individual. I always think that a certain circumstance calls for a certain thing. So to pinpoint one thing, I would have to go something super global. So what I mean
Okay.
by that is, now this is going to sound cheesy. Um, I truly would like to have that ability to be able to just invoke some type of love form of acceptance, meaning I don't like you, I can't talk to you, but I love you and accept you for who you are. And I
Oh,
would love to be able to cast that kind of around the world.
dude, I like it. I like that. That's that's a very unselfish power.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I look at myself as only being here very temporarily. So
Yeah.
there's a saying I always say, like, it's not about me. So I guess that's probably why I think that way about that.
Well, Kevin, saying that, I wish more people thought that way. So awesome, dude. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
You're hitting me with some rad questions. Yeah, it's causing all kinds of introspection.
I've interviewed more than 40 people. I've had a little bit of practice. A little bit of practice.
This is rad.
Um, hey, dude.
Well, I want to know my grade at the end of this thing.
We're laughing. We're having a good time. That's all that matters. And that's the thing I've been trying to do with these interviews. Um, been having a good time, and just, I just love doing these.
Yeah, you know what? You really you don't know who someone really is until they both either laugh at or cry. So whatever I can offer, maybe I'll cry for you later.
Me too. Does music play a part in your collection? Your collecting?
Yeah, I would have to say so. I started singing at an early age, but I mean formally at around 12, and then I started playing drums when I was 18.
Really?
And there's times when I'll see bands that are releasing a comic book that I'm like, oh God, yeah. You know what I mean? And there's times when there was that one drummer thing that came out, and there are times when not only certain bands will come out or certain influences, sometimes it's certain writers. I'll see certain writers coming out with books that are talking about either music or certain musicians that are talking about comics. You know, what was it? I think it was a guitarist from Goer recently released something, and it's just, I kind of get a kick out of it because I like seeing that crossover. You know, what was it? Big Red with what's his name? You know, all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. It does influence it, and it does play a part.
I like what you said about because you nailed it on the head. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking about crossover because it seems like comic books crosses over into so many different areas of entertainment. You know, like movies, cartoons. There isn't a comic out there that doesn't cover like the whole gamut, like horror, you know, westerns. You know what I mean? It's just like war. You know, yeah. It's a trip how. There's a comic book specifically for anybody in the world. Like if whatever you're into, there's a comic book for it, you know?
Well, comics in our form that we talk about are relatively new. And I only mean that, let's say, from the 40s in the format in which that we most commonly know. But that doesn't mean that comics haven't been around forever. I mean,
yeah,
they've discovered someone writing their name, like, you know, John was here, and painting a little comic thing. I mean, that graffiti is over 2,000 years old. People have been doing comics for social, political, different forms of either awareness or just commentary. So, oh yeah, there's definitely the spectrum is out there, and if you're willing to, you can not only find it, but especially when it comes to music, I mean, you could probably relate. In the past, probably 45 years, record albums have always had something close to some of the comic book style, you know what I mean? And some of these artists cross over.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Dope. So what comic books are you reading today? Like what are you currently reading?
Sorry. All right. Let me get some glasses here. What do they call that? Heritage? When you buy something, you keep the receipt? I think that's what if you buy, let's say I went to the shop and I kept the receipt for that book. When that book goes to resell, you have proof of the original buying. There's a name for that.
Oh, wow. Okay. You keep all your receipts?
So like this is receipts to when I buy my DCBS, I got all my stuff and it's all kind of, so if it was sold,
invoice?
Yeah. So when you're like, hey, so what do you read? Teenage Mutant Turtles, World Tree, Eddie Brock Carnage, Magic, Youngblood, Spider-Girl, Death the Silver Surfer, G.I. Joe, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, Ultimates, Money Shot, Venom Original Sin, Power Man Timeless, Venom Original, Universal Monsters, The Mummy, Gotcha Man, Spider-Boy, Vatican City. That's just one side. There's 4 pages to just one order.
Wow.
So I'm reading as many as around 60, 80 titles a month.
Wow. That's a ton. Dude, that's a ton. I thought I read a lot. That's a ton.
Yeah,
wow.
No.
I'm very impressive. Very impressive. Dude, are you kidding me? That's a lot of material. Woo. Awesome. A lot of content, a lot of material.
I have a lot of interest. And then when I get OD'd on one, say I'm symbiote out. All right, Ritter Jones. I'm hardcore, just, you know, that vibrant stuff out. All right, Universal Monsters, you know, let's subdue it and go ahead and do some pastels. Yeah. I'm all over it. Well,
let's go.
You know, Hyde Street. You know, I really love my Twilight Zone anthology style stories. You know, I don't want to get overly involved in something that I can't just dump. Yeah, it's interesting because I will take on a series that I know that there's no end, and then I'll only take on series knowing that there's only 1 or 2 issues to. What is that? House of Loather right now? There's only 3 issues in that, and I invested myself into it, knowing that there's only 3 issues in that miniseries.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same thing too. You know, I used to like weekly, I used to get about 12 to 15 comics a week. I've definitely downsized from that. I just found just recently, well, not recently, the last few years, I haven't had enough time just to read everything. So I got it to a manageable level. But there's definitely a lot of good content out there that I would love to read. It's just that, you know what I mean? I don't want to have it so I can't read it. I'm definitely, you know, the art for me, the art is kind of gets my foot in as far as the art, because we are especially being dudes, we're visually stimulated, right?
Mhm.
But what keeps me around, what keeps me going is the story. If the story um is not just relatable, if it hooks me in, dude, I'm there to the end. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
I'm totally the same.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, so there's always been, and I think there always will be, that argument of, what are people gravitating to,
yeah,
the art side or the story side, and again, that also is a subjective, debatable thing. It depends on the individual you're talking about, right?
yeah,
So for me, I'm much like yourself, that if you devoid me of some of the art, it removes it. But to use one story that I'm finishing up on, let's say a blue, what is it, Blue Falcon and Dynamite.
uh-huh,
Never thought that that story would have the gravity that it does. And when you can go ahead, laugh, all but cry, and find yourself much like in a soap opera where you're eagerly waiting for that next book to come out, not only did the book do its job, but it was the story. Now I
yeah.
don't care even if it was trying to remember the name of that other story, but there was no words in it. It was just all illustration.
Wow,
And it was
wow.
I
Silent issue, huh?
the whole series was that way.
Wow.
Even when they spoke, you didn't understand their language. I'm trying to remember the name of that book. Anyways, what I'm getting at is the story was in the illustration. So it's not that,
Yeah,
it wasn't just that the art really immersed you. It was that the words that were being spoken in the illustration was so captivating that you didn't need any words to go ahead and further tell the story.
yeah,
So that's what I'm getting at on both sides. I get the art, but the overall story, whoever's telling it, if that's not there, if that substance isn't there, then yeah, that's where I'm lost.
yeah. Well, I love that you said the Blue Falcons, because Dynamite, they're coming out with a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Like, I think they just came out with Space Ghost,
So Space
and
Ghost
then
is a 20. David Pepos is a buddy of mine. He lives down the way, and so yeah, Space Ghost. He's on the second volume. He got signed for 27 issues, which was a 12 issue, a one shot, which was the annual. There'll be another 12, another annual, and then a one shot. So that's just 27. That's what he's committed for at this point. So yeah, Dynamite and a few other people are bringing these things out. What I'm liking about it is they're bringing substance to these characters that never had any.
yes, yeah,
They used to be fillers. They were just kind of jokes between animation or so forth. Now they actually have backstory. They actually have substance that was never there before.
yeah,
And beyond just rehashing nostalgia for individuals like, me, definitely, maybe yourself too.
yeah. Oh yeah,
They're actually hooking us with this, again, going back to the story, with a story that was never there before. And putting something there that not only allures us with the nostalgia, the art, as you were saying before, but solidifies that by ingraining it into a well-written storyline that now just puts its hook into you and you can't stop. That's where I'm at with Space Ghost.
yeah. Well, I know they just came out with Thundar the Barbarian, and out of all those IPs, I was really big on Thunder Barbarian because you mentioned earlier that your son plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
play Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh,
and
all right.
if you so you look right here, I have like three like right here is my shelf. Right here, there's three shelves of just Dungeons and Dragon books. So I was big in Dungeons and Dragons, and when Thundar came out, you know, I was like, oh shit, they made this for me, you know. And so when the comic came out, you know, I jumped on it, and I read the first issue, and kind of like what you said, you know, they're fleshing out the stories. It's more adult. It's not like it's not a kiddie book, even though Saturday morning cartoons there was a kiddie cartoon. You know, these comics are more they're more adult, with more adult themes, and I dig it. I dig it. It's so good, so good. I'm into it. Um,
Me too. I can't get enough. As long as they keep, pumping it out, I will probably keep buying it.
yeah, me too. Do you collect anything besides comics?
I'm trying not to. I mean, recently, and if Bubs is out there, damn you. Recently, we've been getting this, and when I mean we, I mean me, Jigs Kingdom, a few other people. We've been going to the Dollar Tree and buying these cards.
These
are playing.
What is that?
These are.
I know that's a movie.
This is How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay, what? Oh, is it gaming cards?
These are regular playing cards, and the beauty about this is every single card in here has all different art. The quality of the product alone. Matter of fact, I'm going to crack one of these guys open.
And where'd you get these at?
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree. Wow.
See, look,
write that down.
I'm blaming Bubs, and now everyone's going to do this, but the quality, it doesn't matter if you play cards or not. The quality of the product and the fact that they have pretty much anything you're looking for, you're going to go out and you're not only going to want to open these things up yourself, but you're going to enjoy them much like I do. There you go. There's Toothless, and these are all shots from the movie.
Oh wow!
And they're all different pieces. I mean, it's a classic. So they're not only things that you may love and enjoy, but you may just not realize that they would even do something like that. So Garfield, Shrek,
what?
Scooby-Doo, SpongeBob.
You know where I'm gonna go? You know where I'm gonna go after this interview?
I am
Kevin.
right now.
I'm gonna go to the Dollar Tree. I was hanging
out with Jigs last night, and he walked in and he was buying the racks. Let me say this again. You go where you find these at Dollar Tree, you go to the register, you look down, and you'll see a black, all the way down at the floor, at your feet, you'll see a black rack there. In those racks, they'll have these novel, little playing cards things. He buys the rack. He just grabs the whole rack, puts it on the thing, goes, I'll take this.
Peanuts. Yeah, Snoopy.
There's like 4 different types of those. He's got them all.
Superman.
You would not believe the art in Superman. It's amazing.
Friends. Looney Tunes. Wow. Turtles. Oh no. You're gonna get me coming down a brand new rabbit hole.
I don't mean to do this to you.
Dr. Seuss.
Oh,
dude, those are all classic. That's awesome.
And I love some of the other stuff. They have more DC stuff. They had Marvel stuff, which was Fantastic Four, Avengers. They had so much stuff, and that was 3 stores. Jigs went on he went around his whole town. I'm trying not to collect stuff like.
Yeah, I know.
I have a couple of pops. But reason why I end up getting them is the only way I can get the comic book is if I bought the pop. I knew Dan Slott was coming, and I'm a big Spider-Boy fan, so I want him to sign my Spider-Boy pop. So I'm not outside of that. Luckily, I don't really collect much. I do collect like stickers, pins, and a couple of things like that, but they're usually still comic or comic related.
Yeah.
Or just weird, cute things, bears
cool.
or whatever.
Yeah. Right
on. I've been collecting all my passes in my entertainment industry. And then I did a prop job And so I end up asking, hey, you mind if I take those? You're just going to throw them away, right? And they're like, yeah, you can have them. So whenever somebody does buy things from me, I end up giving them free stuff that I get. Like,
Oh, that's awesome.
from The Price
That's
is
cool.
Right. I put that in there. I got all these like backstage passes from various bands, and I mean, you name it. I pretty much worked every award show that you've ever seen, or things.
That's
So
dope.
I try to put things like that in there because I know most people don't get entertainment stuff.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So who are some of your favorite artists and writers?
Let's go back. So we'll say, the old school kind of people, things like Walt and guys like that. I really love how the present day people admire people from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And how much they value the work and what they did for individuals, much like in the 90s, your Rob Liefeld and things like that, that we're able to take in McFarlane and definitely unsung heroes, people like Quesada, Joe Quesada, and it was like that, Kirkman, because these are individuals that were able to take the independent industry and allow independent writers and creators to not only truly have the ability to express themselves, but to maintain ownership of these things, which in the past never was able to be. So to say, like, any one individual, I like a lot of it. I do like the individuals that help change the game for the present day individuals. So some of the people I do admire hanging out with, enjoy hanging out with, is a little bit different. So, but to still say that is, I really, every time I see people like Jeremy Adams, I get a kick just hanging out with them. Last time I went, is telling a little bit personal. When I went to San Diego Comic-Con, I once in a while get a little anxieties, So I always hang out in the Artist Alley, and that's pretty much the only place I kind of go. First person I saw was Jeremy Adams there last year, and I just, hey, do you mind if I hang out? He's like, Kev, come on in. I go, no, like behind you. And he's like, yeah, come on in. So, Tony Fleets, Jeremy, there's so many. The list is insane of people that I don't want to say that I've befriended them as much as I've seen them so often, and I've relied upon their camaraderie so much. David Boer is definitely a big one. That I enjoy their company to the point that more than just writers and artists, I enjoy them as who they are.
Awesome.
So I can easily point out and say, I dig this art and I love that. And look, I got Energon, and I'm a massive fan of Ghost Machine, Jeff Johns. I have conversations with them as frequent as often as I can. That's how I knew about Red Coat and Geiger before anyone else did, almost a year. I love all this art. Aldrin, he's a buddy of mine back from the early or late 80s. I like all these people. And I just want to say hi if anyone's watching. And I guess I appreciate all their works for what they are and for how they are expressing themselves.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, it's because there'll be times when like 2 or 3 years will go by and I'm like, okay, now I'm into Rose Besh or something, and it's like, it's just, that's me. It's what so I like it all. I like everyone, I guess. What a very non-committal answer, isn't it?
No, well, the thing is that there's an endless list of great writers, great artists, and like every day there's another person popping out. You know what I mean? So for you not to answer it, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's your answer. But is there a artist or writer you have not met yet that you want to?
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
And I guess mostly on the East Coast, or even those of which that come out from the East Coast and then are just bombarded over here on the West Coast. So your Scott Snyder's, there's so many. Yeah, even James Tynion right now. He's been over here so many times, and our paths just keep missing. And
It'll happen.
There was a
It'll
signing
happen.
event that just happened. That is going to be the last signing event, a public signing event
Yeah.
for this individual that I missed. So there definitely is almost this long list of people who I appreciate, of a long list of people that I wish I could have met. You know, even Stan. I missed Stan by like just minutes before he walked out of the bug, and no one really knew. I knew he was going to be there, and a few people, but yeah. So I do, and I don't even have anything signed by him to this day, I think. So yes, there's definitely individuals I like to meet, and I think more than anything else, it's more for the conversations than anything else. I would really like to, definitely again, like James, I would Tinian, hit him up on so many things. Well, even Kirkman. Last time I saw Kirkman, I think my son and I were the only people to ever ask of him to do art. He was so taken back. He's like, no, I don't do art. I go, I know, that's why I want it. And I would love to be able to talk to him again and show him the book and go, dude, you remember this? You know, just that conversation. It's been so many years. It's been like 7 years. Oh my God. So yeah, there's individuals I'd love to either re-see or see for the first time. And the list is vast. So
yeah. Well, that's what's awesome about the hobby. It's like, it's just endless. It's endless, and that's what I love about it. It's like, it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime of experiences, and it's not like it just doesn't end. It just keeps on going.
Actually, and if I may, one more. I grew up watching Croft stuff all my life. I mean, a good 20 plus years of my life, I was watching Croft stuff. So I got to meet Marty Croft just recently.
And stuff.
Yeah, and
really,
his hand wasn't working. He said he couldn't sign anything. But moreover, what I wanted to do is, one, I thanked him for everyone that couldn't thank him, that never got to meet him, that never got to see him, that were influenced or got enjoyment out of his stuff. And then the other one is I want to thank him from our side, meaning not even I'm from entertainment, so I want to thank him for all the people that he gave work to, the costume people, the carpenters, everyone that also inspired me to be an individual that I'm in entertainment. So I want to thank him not only from the entertainment people, but as a person who's been entertained. So he kind of looked at me like, who are you? And I'm just saying, I represent, in my opinion, everyone that could never really thank you. And I just want to thank you. And I paid $20 just to say that. And he's like, wait, where are you going? Aren't you going to stay here? I go, no, I just want to say that.
That's awesome. That's a great story. That's a great story. You know what? So we're getting at the tail end of our interview. And I asked you if there's any comic books you wanted to show during this interview. Dude, let's see them. Show me what you got.
All right. Before I do, I have to set it up with a story. So,
Please.
Story is I made mention, some of my first things I got into was Star Wars. So, when Star Wars came out, my father took my brother and myself to wait in line at the Chinese Ramen Theater for like 6 hours to be some of the first people to ever see it.
Yeah.
I also got the comics that year. All right. And I remember at Christmas asking my aunt, who was giving me the comics, I turned to my grandmother and I asked, as I was receiving these books, where did Dad's books go? So my grandfather just kind of looked up and my grandmother goes, oh no, I had, Grandpa throw those away. So my grandfather looked over at me and just kind of gave me a little smirk. And then he just kind of looked down. I didn't know what any of that meant. My grandfather passed away. My grandmother passed away so many years ago and we're going through the garage, cleaning things out. What my grandfather did is he ended up placing those comics up in the rafters inside the garage, out of the way and unnoticed to my grandmother. So I found those.
Nice.
That was part of the real push to go ahead and get my son, hey, you know what? Would you want to do this? I want to start reading books again. Your uncle, my brother, has been pushing me to get back into comics again. Would you want to do this? He said, yeah. I go, cool. How about we do this? He said, what? I go, on one of our first shows, I want to get a book which I'm going to go ahead and reach in here now, and I'm just going to kind of randomly grab one. This one I'm properly randomly grabbing somewhere. Let's go there. Close. And I'm like, let's grab a book, which it was a science one, somewhere in here. And I go, how about we do this? How about we open it and reread it? And he goes, all right.
Wow.
So we open that, and he's like, he's kind of looking at me like, what's the significance behind this? I said, son, how old are you? He said, 15. I said, son, the last time your grandfather looked at that book is he was 15. We're now looking in the mind of my father, your grandfather, and the last time he put away this book was your age.
Wow, that's huge.
So it was a way of connecting between him, me, my dad, my grandmother, past grandma, all that. And it was a moment that I, again, you know, because I like having stories behind my stories, because, you know, it's one thing we get entertained and we, you know, appease the dopamine thing. But when it goes beyond that is, you know, it's kind of cool. And it was a moment that it went beyond that with my son. So that was when I knew I had a connection not only with my son on comics, but it connected him to a person that, you know, he could never really talk to. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
So yeah, I have
that.
You know, I got this guy. This is stuff my dad was reading.
Wow. That's awesome, dude.
And I got see, in this, my dad was big into science, and he was always about, you know, and basically invoking thought, and he really was big about reading. So when I ended up getting these books, were the ones that really did it for me, which was let's see if they're here. So there's the world's finest, but he was really into science stuff. I got a feeling these were bought for him, but when it came to let's see if we can find it.
Great books, by the way. Jeez.
He did like the detective stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Okay. So no, I know they're here. It was all those weird. There's more Adventure in Comics. God, I can't find them now. I think they're back here, right? No. Yeah. Okay. So it was in this type of stuff. So it was Pied Piper.
Wow.
Davy Crockett. It was the classic
cool
stuff. Even the old world, what is that? War of the Worlds, things like that.
Yeah, War of the Worlds.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a whole nother box full of that other stuff too, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, that really did it for me, and that's really what got me back in. Is I opened that stuff from my dad's and went, okay, I'm back.
That's awesome. What a good story. So you kind of mentioned it during our interview, but who else in your family collects comic books?
Mostly, you know, my son will hit me up. He's really big on the Marvel Rival stuff because he's playing the game. So anything has a Marvel Rivals covers he wants.
Those are nice too.
Magic, he's reading all the Magic. So Magic Colossus, the other Magic series he was reading.
Yeah.
He and I were heavily into the Kanto stuff. My wife was even reading Kanto. My daughter, she really likes what's that guy's name? Molly. So Paper Girls, I'm trying to remember all those type of books.
There you go.
You know, all that. Yeah, my daughter likes reading kind of stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, so it's kind of a family affair.
Yeah, we kind of geek out together. It really, my brother, he's the one that really got me back into it, like you. Heavily into D&D, and that's why my son was playing, is because my brother's a dungeon master, and he does stuff every week. So he collects pops, and he's big on mechs. So he has a whole like wall full of mechs.
Ooh, those are crazy. Yeah. I've seen a few of those. Ooh, damn. They're not cheap either.
No.
So, a few more questions. Do you consider yourself a Marvel or DC guy?
I'm definitely way more Marvel.
More Marvel?
I have very little DCs. I've been on. You wouldn't guess about all the stuff I showed you of my dad. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I don't have a whole lot of DC, and it's either really old, or it tend to be some of the horror type stuff. You know, like Vertigo and things like that.
Nice. All right. Is there any like comic book grails that you're trying to chase still, or do you pretty much have everything that you want?
I'm not really big on grails, meaning I don't have a whole lot that people, you know what I mean? So there are a couple things that I would like to have chasing. I'm not. However, as stated, I would love to have, let's say, like an Iron Man #1. I still don't have a Silver Surfer #1. I definitely need first appearance of Ghost Rider, meaning the Marvel's 5, spotlight thing.
Yeah.
But as far as a bunch of those and all the, the hardcore classics and the 10 and 20,000 books, no. I would like to get the 181. I had a 180 forever. My card that I've had since 1990 tells me that first appearance of Wolverine is 180. So I've had that thing forever. They changed the game back in the late 80s, and now I need a 181.
That's funny. Okay, so here's an interview question. This is a job interview question.
Oh.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years in the hobby?
Punt. No, this is not me being, this is me circling back. This is not me being mean or disingenuous to the community or the hobby. This is me being to, I guess, the poor kid that grew up.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a way for me to have, I was supposed to be able to purge a good portion of this, let's say 80-90% of this, and that was going to be money that was going to carry on part of my retirement. I still need some of the room, and I'm not, as much as, let's say, I'm attached to something like this because of my dad and things, I'm not really fully attached to all the paper in my room. Okay. I mean, if anything, it can kill me if a fire ever happens. So I still look at
fire starter.
I want to be around, but at the same point, I don't know to the extent. I mean, even I like to get rid of a good portion.
Okay.
But it's still, I want to keep reading, but I don't even know what that's going to look like in 5 years. I am a tangible guy, so I need to still collect, touch, smell, feel. So I don't see me going away in an entirety, but I can't.
You're not the kind of guy who would read a large amount of comic books digitally.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's just not in me. It hurts my eyes. It's hard to smell a comic through that digital thing.
A different experience.
Yeah, totally.
Not the same. That's the same.
It isn't. No. Until they get smell a thing on that thing, it's not going to work for me.
What? I've seen that. Smell-o-vision. Where was that? Where's that?
Simpson or something like that.
It was in a movie. The smell-o-vision. Man.
Yeah. Until I get something like that, or some type of false tangibly feel, or I don't know. Until I can flip the page of a. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. All right. Last question, and we're gonna wrap this up. What's your favorite things? What was one of your favorite things of the hobby, collecting comic?
All right, so I have to tie in the community aspect. I mean, I can't avoid it of it. Meaning, if this was a question that had nothing to do with YouTube, that would be a different question. But I guess because we're doing the interview on YouTube and everything, this can also sound cheesy. A big aspect is the community. And what I mean by that is...
Not cheesy at all. Not cheesy at all.
I was an 8-year-old kid sitting by himself. I grew up surfing. I grew up skating. I grew up on the corner of Inglewood Avenue and Compton back in the 80s. You know what that was like?
I've seen movies.
I mean, you can only imagine. So, I mean, between kind of a hardcore, environment that I grew up in and everything, it wasn't something that I could really divulge to most people that, I sit in my room and read comics. You know, so it's nice to be able to be a 50-plus-year-old 8-year-old, to be able to communicate with the community that I yearned for so many decades, to be able to, you know what I mean, have that camaraderie with individuals I never had when I was a young kid, the teen, when I was, you know, when we surfaced back in the early 80s and late 80s and 90s. I still couldn't, you know, tell all my hardcore friends and all my thrashers, and, you know, so to be able to have the community to share my appreciation for the hobby is probably one of the more satisfying experiences that I've been able to have in this hobby so far.
I love it, Keven. That's a great answer, man. All right, so okay, so first off, I wanted Keven, thank you for your time, bro, dude. We talked for over an hour, and it feels like we only been talking for 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, dude, thank you so much. This was an awesome interview. And
No, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Truly.
oh, dude. So before we get out, did you want to like do any shout outs or kind of like say what you're going to be doing? Or your plans are as far as
for everyone out there, keep living your 8-year-old self out, you know, and for all those out there that are either just starting out or mega big subscriber-y people, remember we're all just 8-year-olds trying to look for someone to hang out with. I appreciate everyone that's been as welcoming to me as I feel that, you know, most are, and I try to be to others that are first coming in. And I can't express enough to you, Paul, and then to those like you that do things like this, because without you guys, I think there'd be a lot of us that would still feel very intimidated to even, you know, say, hey, can I talk to someone about, you know, what I like and appreciate? So thank you to all of you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, you know, the thing is, when I started this, you know, not just this interview show, but as far as YouTube, it's not in my comfort zone, you know. And the thing with me is, I'm always trying to challenge myself on things I'm not comfortable with. And doing this interview show was probably the best idea I've ever had, because I got to talk to awesome people like you. Yeah, just to get to know the community has been very fulfilling, and I want to say thank you again. Everyone that's gonna watch this, dude, stay tuned. This is such a good interview. And Keven, I wanted to say thank you again, and everybody who's gonna watch this and is watching this, peace and take care.